Hello guys, welcome back to another video. It's me, Catching Flash. I'm back with another stream. Today we're looking at the 50% discounts. Right now I'm testing out a 50% discount off vehicle, the tank. So yeah guys, alright, alright, let's test out this piece right here. Let's test out this Tiger tank. Amazing shot. 300 meters. Reload is like 5 seconds. 3 seconds. Nice. I want to grind Germany. I am right now currently grinding the USA Air Tree right now. I'm at this rank. I'm at rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm at rank 6 right now, grinding this. And almost at rank 7. And then almost at rank 8. And right now I'm grinding the B66B bomber, and then I'm gonna grind this. Then this, and then did the rest of these, and yeah, everything else. Oh damn, I'm burping a lot. 8,000 meters. 521 shots. Let's test out this one.
Your vehicle!
Only a grid?
Target destroyed! Target destroyed! Target destroyed! Take 12 o'clock. Range 650. Target hit. On the way. Target destroyed. Target destroyed. Mode, say mode. UCME, launch!
Damn, I can blow.
Target destroyed! Target hit! Target destroyed! Load heat!
Alright, here. Alright, hang on guys, give me a second, I need to see something. 500 Golden Eagle, that's a steal. The Super Hellcat, I'm about, it's a decent, it's decent, has, oh my god, 281 and this one has, not as much penetration, but it's alright. I don't know, I'm stuck between getting this or I don't know which one to get, man. I'm really confused right now. Like, they're all so good, but should I don't know. I'm very limited right now. 316. Oh shit, let me try this time, motherfucker. Damn, it's chilly cold.
Aufsetzen! So! 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 Klar machen zum Gefecht! Kraftfahrer bereit! Schütze bereit! Ladeschütze bereit! Ziel zerstört!
I think this is made.
Treibspiegel geladen! T-34, 12 Uhr. Entfernung 300 Meter.
300 Meter.
Ziel beschädigt!
Yeah.
Treibspiegelgeschoss geladen! Panzergranate geladen! Maschinengewehr geladen! Ziel zerstört! Panzergranate geladen! Ziel ausgeschaltet!
Alright, let me search up. It's better. Damn, they also got this thing, this beauty right here. $300 The penetration on this is it's 316, the maximum penetration. And this has the penetration of 316, so why should I be getting this? It's the same penetration at higher BR. And this is at lower BR and the same penetration, so wow. Reach up your feet. And it costs less, not bad. Let me look at the PZBEF. Let me search it up. How good is the PCBEF weak WG in War Thunder? I'll quick video. I'll watch a quick video. It might not show up.
Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be giving you a complete review of the PZ BEF-WG6P, otherwise known as the Panzerberufungswagen 6P. This is a rank 4 German heavy tank with a BR of 5.7, and it costs 6,090 GE when not on sale. I'll go over its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses, give you some ratings and how it performs, and then give my final recommendation for what I think if you should purchase this vehicle or not. As always, please subscribe if you like more reviews, guides, history videos, and giveaways, but either way, let's get into the video. So I'll place its stats here on the left side of the screen in order to expedite the video slightly. A good frame of reference is to imagine that the Panzerberufungswagen 6P is essentially a Tiger 1 with a different chassis and engine configuration. As such, the best tanks to compare this to are the Tiger 1H, the E, and the VK4501P, of which this vehicle is an up-armored version. That said, let's get into this vehicle's role and how it plays. Put simply, the Panzerberufungswagen 6P is a breakthrough heavy tank with a slight side role of heavy sniper, depending on how much of an up tier that you find yourself in. It takes the roles of the standard Tiger 1 and even the VK4501P and makes it extreme. This is a far less balanced vehicle compared to the Tiger 1, sacrificing speed and maneuverability for frontal armor. The Berufungswagen has a weaker engine than the other Tiger 1s, thinner tracks than the Tiger 1H and E, and also is much heavier, with the frontal armor being extremely heavy, leading this to be the heaviest of all the Tiger 1s, sitting at 60 tons even. These factors lead it to be an impressively unmaneuverable vehicle, at least when compared to the other Tigers. But while it is fairly slow, it is extremely powerful at the front, especially in the down tier. When compared with its good cannon, you can reliably be a frontline tank through 6.0 or even 6.3 BR matches, though you may want to consider sniping at 6.3 BR, with it almost being necessary at 6.7 BR total up tier matches. Not all is lost with speed, however, as the Berufungswagen Tiger has a nearly 30 km/h reverse speed, which is one of the fastest in game, courtesy of its hybrid electric engine / transmission layout, meaning that you can reverse behind cover quickly, making it an effective shoot and scoot tank. It also allows you to reverse your tank quickly while facing the enemy with your powerful frontal hull arm, all while taking reprisal shots with your powerful 88mm KWK-36 cannon. This ability starts to diminish, however, at 6.3 BR, and especially beyond that, as the Berufungswagen 6P will encounter not only stronger cannons firing conventional ammo, but also post-World War II tanks that fire more modern ammunition, like APDS and Heat FS, both of which will have no issue firing through the 200+ mm of frontal hull armor. As stated earlier, 6.3 BR and beyond is where you'll want to begin considering using this vehicle as a sniper. The other issue is that at only 165mm max with its APCBC shell, dropping to just 117mm of pen at 500 meters and 30 degrees, the KWK-36 on the Tiger 1 will have a difficult time sniping in up tiers because it will oftentimes not pen heavier or more heavily sloped enemy tanks that are at any distances above about a half kilometer. The APCR offers better pen at 143mm of pen at 30 degrees and 500 meters, or 211mm of pen at 0 degrees and 10 meters, but APCR are notoriously poor with post-pen damage and ricochet very easily, especially compared to APCBC. In this regard, the Berufungswagen 6P is not incredibly up-tierable, as both its armor and main cannon have a relatively short shelf life compared to the superior designs of the Panther and Tiger II. Worst yet is that starting at around 6.3 BR, the very thing that makes, or at least made, the Berufungswagen 6P so great, its frontal armor, becomes a detriment, as the added weight slows the vehicle down tremendously, all while doing nothing to protect it versus shells that don't care about its formerly high frontal armor. Aside from this, however, regardless of your BR, it is incredibly important to do your best to hide the frontal hull armor corner weak spots, as these are normally armored at only 82mm thick, can be penned by even a 75mm M4 Sherman. With all that said, let's get to its strengths and weaknesses, and for its strengths, it has an extremely powerful frontal hull armor and strengthened rear turret armor. Secondly, it has a very good cannon. The KWK-88 cannon on all Tiger 1 tanks is excellent, and while it does begin to lose a little bit of its bite versus many 6.0 BR tanks, it is still incredibly accurate and potent enough to knock out most tanks with one hit. It also features APCR for those extra difficult shots. Third, much like the VK4501P that this is based on, the Panzerberufungswagen 6P also features a hybrid electric transmission, making it quite fast in reverse, despite its poor forward speed. Reverse top speed is 28.7 km/h. This is extra useful as the frontal hull armor is extremely powerful, so you can oftentimes reverse out of danger while still facing the enemy to provide maximum protection. And fourth, being that this is an unusual variant of the Tiger, and one that looks very similar to the lesser armored VK4501P, some people might think that you still have the standard 102mm of armor at the front of your hull, when in reality you have twice that amount, making it so that people waste shots on you. And finally, much like any other premium vehicle, this this does have good RP and SL boosters, which is extra important, especially because if you get hit a lot with this thing, you will get a ton of SL and RP, being that bounce shots equals, well, SL and RP. And now for its weaknesses. First, it is extremely slow. It's actually the slowest of all Tiger tanks in game, regardless of if it's a Tiger 1 or a Tiger 2. Second, it has poor turret traverse speed. It has one of the slowest turret traverses in game, with an RB range going from 5.25 to 7.5 degrees per second, depending on crew skill. Third, it has thin tracks and lower power than even the VK4501P, which makes this a poor performer on soft ground. Fourth, it has huge weak spots in the front of the hull despite having massively increased armor. An enemy could simply shoot the frontal corners of the hull and annihilate you. Much the same goes for the large MG port on the front of the hull as well. Fifth, it lacks a turret mounted MG, so air defense is largely a moot point with this vehicle. And finally, while it is potent, and while this variant of the Tiger 1 does have APCR, the KWK-36 lacks the staying power of the more advanced German cannons, such as the 75mm KWK-42 on the Panther tanks that has nearly 200mm of armor pen with APCBC ammunition, which itself is not too far off from the 211mm of armor pen with the Tiger 1's APCR, as well as the King Tiger's 88mm KWK-43 cannon. Of all three of those cannons, the Tiger 1's KWK-36 up tiers the worst, and by a pretty good amount. And now for my final overview, ratings, and recommendation on if you should buy this vehicle or not. First, I'll just say that this is a heavy tank lover's dream if you love the concept of breakthrough tanks and if you don't get up tiered. If speed is not your concern and you like the general gameplay of the Tiger 1 tanks, this can be your favorite tank. If you do like a more balanced approach, such as with a regular Tiger 1 or more so a Panther tank, you may not be a huge fan of the Befehlswagen 6P. It's not that it's a bad tank, because it can be excellent in many scenarios where most other tanks will fail. It's that if an enemy tank shell can pen through your frontal 200mm of armor, or if they know where your weak spots are, then what is the difference between having 200mm of frontal armor or the standard 102mm of frontal hull armor? The difference is that you're in a worse spot with the Panzer Befehlswagen 6P, being that you will be slowed down tremendously by otherwise useless armor. In a down tier, however, especially if you can hide your weak spots with bushes or cover, the additional frontal armor pays dividends and will allow you to dominate in a way that no other Tiger can. But that said, for ratings, I'd say the Befehlswagen 6P has a 7.5 out of 10 for its cannon, largely due to the fact that it's incredibly accurate and good through about 6.0 or even 6.3 VR, but loses its teeth rather quickly beyond that. For survivability, again, I have to give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is because despite the huge increase in armor at the front of the vehicle, it still suffers from huge weak spots that are present on the VK4501P, which allows you to totally circumvent the additional armor plate. If someone does hit that armor though, you will be a very difficult tank to kill, unless in an up tier, which is another strike against this vehicle, as its massive amount of armor is still flat and is still easily beatable by Heat FS and APDS. For maneuverability, I give this tank a 3.5 out of 10, and that is rated across the average of all tanks at 5.7. While it is slow to move forward, it accelerates fairly decently on pavement and will oftentimes be able to keep up with other heavy tanks, but only on pavement. Where this vehicle suffers is off-road and when it needs to perform a neutral turn. It has by far the worst power to weight ratio of all Tiger tanks, and has thinner tracks than the standard Tiger 1. This is a recipe for disaster, although it does feel that its top speed is artificially limited, as you will reach it fairly quickly on pavement. The only place where the Befehlswagen 6P shines is in reverse, as it can go nearly 30 kilometers per hour, which beats out almost every other tank in game. So overall, considering all of its features, strengths, weaknesses, and so forth, I give the Panzer Befehlswagen 6P a 5.5 out of 10. That is not to say that it is bad, because it isn't, but where it may have shined years ago when it faced weaker tanks, it now suffers. Its armor almost doesn't matter due to the huge weak spots that allow you to circumvent it. When your armor is being hit though, especially in a down tier, this is easily one of the best tanks in the match. You'll just need to stay behind some level of cover if you're on the front lines, largely in an attempt to protect your flanks and to hide your frontal weak spots. If you can do that, you will succeed. If not, then you won't. In all, this is not a very versatile vehicle and can only be played as a breakthrough tank and a heavy sniper, but it doesn't do either of those incredibly well in most instances due to its aforementioned weaknesses. As long as you don't get flanked, you won't need to employ your terrible maneuverability and turret reverse, and as long as you're not in a 0.6 BR plus up tier, your cannons should be able to pen most tanks at most combat ranges. Unfortunately, the success of this vehicle relies on too many factors that are outside of your control to be considered more than average when considering the sum of its faults and virtues. So, do I recommend it? Yes, but for those who really like a front-heavy vehicle, as it can still be very effective like that, but for those that want something more versatile, I would suggest to look elsewhere, maybe like the RU-251, or if you don't mind buying a pack vehicle, the Tiger 2 SLA. But that said, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe.
Alright, it looks like it is a decent tank, but it does suffer from a bit of armor issues, so yeah, I'm still thinking of buying it. Cause yeah, I need a tank, a real powerful motherfucking tank. My back. I can greatly afford this one. Let me check it. 419 max penetration. I'm not really good with top tier. I am still practicing.
¡Prepárense! ¡Conductor listo! ¡Artillero listo! ¡Cargador listo! ¡Disparo! ¡Abierto! ¡Disparen! ¡Objetivo destruido!
Okay. It is a fairly good tank. With some sort of good armor.
Jetzt das Arsch, Leute! Feindmann eilen! Gefechtsbereitschaft herstellen! Kraftfahrer bereit! Richtig bereit! Ladeschütze bereit!
This tank, this one sucks. What about the what about the wolf pack? Let me see how good the wolf pack is. How? Oh, not another.
Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the M1128 Wolfpack, of which is a currently 9.7 BR Tier 6 premium light tank that sits in the American Ground Forces tech tree and costs 9,090 Golden Eagles. In this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this vehicle, including its stats, how it plays, I'll give its strengths and weaknesses, I'll give some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation and if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. As always, please consider subscribing if you'd like more content like this, especially if you like guides, reviews, astrophotography, history videos, wolves, and more. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, as always, to start, I'll place its stats here on the side of the screen. Important stats to know are its top speed, armor thickness, and reload rate. Now for how the Wolfpack plays. To start, it's important to note the two major differences between the M1128 Wolfpack and the regular tech tree M1128 Striker. First, the Wolfpack lacks the M900 APF SDS shell, and as a result, receives the M833 APF SDS shell, which has around 130mm lower armor pen at max compared to, again, the M900. This is why the BR of the Wolfpack is 9.7 BR compared to the 10.0 BR Striker in the regular tech tree, at least for now. Additionally, the Wolfpack lacks the option to mount the slat armor that the tech tree Striker has, though I don't really think many people will miss it, as it weighs around 5 tons and, quite frankly, adds mediocre protection at best. In lieu of this, the Wolfpack receives the awesome camo netting that people love on the premium Leopard 2A4. If you're familiar with the terminology that car manufacturers use, the regular tech tree Striker is like the Striker Limited, being a little bit more luxurious, whereas the premium version is the Striker Sport, meaning that it is essentially a stripped down and lower BR Striker, but of course for purists. With all that out of the way, the Wolfpack is an extremely fast bullet of a vehicle that can flank, base cap, and scout extremely well, even if it doesn't really have the best maneuverability. Though it is large and also wheeled, it can reach 60 km per hour with extreme ease on most terrain, including even off-road. It achieves this with a decent though not amazing 18.7 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio, and the fact that it is, of course, 8-wheeled. On top of the speed demon is a 105mm auto-loaded cannon that can fire the aforementioned M833 APF SDS shells with nearly 400mm of armor pen at a rate of 1 shot per 7.5 seconds. This is a guaranteed rate of fire so long as there are shells available in the autoloader. Additionally, the cannon sits above where the crew is, meaning that a shell that hits the cannon or where it's mounted will typically not damage the crew, as they sit a good amount lower than the cannon itself. Unfortunately, however, the Wolfpack is extremely limited in terms of armor, and while it isn't quite as bad as the stat card indicates, as it's really around 12mm plus 25mm of Mexus armor on top of most of the vehicle, it is still killable using essentially anything, especially HE. This means that if an ATGM or an HE shell hits the cannon on top of the vehicle, the resultant blast will likely kill at least 2 of the 3 crew members inside of the Wolfpack, making it an easy kill. And although the Striker is an excellent vehicle with a good cannon, decent enough APF SDS, and a ton of speed, making it ideal for flanking, scouting, and base capping, all as I mentioned before, though it can of course act as a mobile sniper as well. Do not frontline with this vehicle as it will die to anything that hits it that's larger than an HMG, and even still, there are some spots on the Wolfpack that do not have the additional 25mm of Mexus armor, and thus only have 12mm of armor, making those areas pennable by HMGs. One last thing to note, because of where the cannon is, you can oftentimes sit behind cover or a hill with just the uncrewed cannon being visible, which is a great way to protect your crew and also snipe enemies. Now for its strengths and weaknesses, and first for its strengths. It has Gen 3 thermals for both the gunner and commander, as well as thermals for the driver, oddly enough. For its second strength, it features an autoloader, thus guaranteeing its 7.5 second reload. Third, the 105mm cannon sits well above the vehicle itself, meaning that penning shots will typically not injure or kill the crew. This also makes it so that hold down shots with the Wolfpack are far easier than with other tanks. For its fourth strength, it is extremely fast overall, with a nearly 20 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio, and a 96 km/h top speed in RB. For its 5th strength, it features a top-mounted HMG which can help dispatch of lightly armored and unarmored targets, including aircraft. Beyond this, it has access to smoke grenades, of which launch 4 at a time for a total of 3 times, which means that it has, of course, 12 grenades. For its 7th strength, it has surprisingly decent off-road mobility. Considering that it uses tires, it will oftentimes outpace even tracked vehicles. For its 8th strength, large portions of the interior of the Striker are essentially empty space, as far as War Thunder is concerned. As such, and with the propensity of most vehicles at and around this BR to use APF SDS, you will see a large amount of non-damaging shots made against this vehicle, or at least shots that do limited damage. And finally, of course, it has premium RP and SL bonuses. Now for its weaknesses, it has poor armor all around the vehicle, with just 12mm of armor covering it on every side, with 25.4mm of Mexus 2 and Mexus 2C armor covering it around 85% of the hull, but of course there are still large portions of the hull, particularly in the back, that do not have that additional armor and are thus vulnerable to HMG fire. For the second weakness, though it's not an outright weakness, it lacks the M900 shell that the regular Tech Tree Striker receives. Though the Wolfpack does of course have a 0.3 lower BR because of this, the 130mm of extra armor pen are, in my opinion, more than worth the increased BR, thus making the Wolfpack a fair amount worse than its regular Tech Tree counterpart. For its third weakness, it has a paltry 18 rounds of ammunition at max. Fourth, it is a very large and easy to hit target. For its 5th weakness, it has a surprisingly poor amount of vertical guidance between -5 and 15 degrees. 6th, despite the large size of this vehicle, it only has 3 crew members, thus compounding its poor survivability issue. And finally, the Striker has poor turning capabilities. Now with all that said, let's go over how I scored this vehicle in several key areas. And first, for armament, I give it a 6 out of 10. The Premium Striker has many pros and cons in regards to its armament. On one hand, it has an autoloader and fairly decent armor pen. On the other hand, other vehicles such as the regular Tech Tree variant of this vehicle have much better armor pen with the M900 APF SDS shell, while the Premium Leopard 2A4, of which has marginally better armor pen with its DM23 shell, has up to a 1.5 second better reload with its human loader, although this could get worse should that crew member die. To that point, I scored the Premium Leopard 2A4 a 6.5 out of 10 in the firepower category. Because of that, I don't really feel like I can give the Wolfpack more than a 6 out of 10 for armament, at least when looking at that Leopard 2A4. This is still a very good score based on my scoring criteria, but it lacks several key features, such as that M900 shell, a larger cannon size, being that this is of course only 105mm, which is becoming somewhat lackluster at this BR, especially considering its sub 400mm of armor pen and mediocre cannon depression. In spite of these things, it's still fairly good, but nothing incredibly special. Plus the autoloader isn't all too fast. It only normalizes the loading rate, which makes you superior to tanks with dead loaders, but inferior to fully crewed tanks and even many tanks with autoloaders themselves, such as T-80s, which have a 1 second better reload. If the Wolfpack had access to the M900, even if it had an increased BR to 10.0, I would likely give this vehicle a 7.25 out of 10 in the armament category. The M900 is a large amount better than the top level M833 APF SDS shell on the Wolfpack, and is more than worth the BR increase. Now for mobility, I give the Wolfpack an 8.5 out of 10. While the power to weight ratio on this vehicle is decent, it doesn't even match up with the ratios on some of the faster MBTs. The reason why the Striker excels is that it has wheels. This is also what makes it worse off-road, although not as much as you might think. Wheeled vehicles get a bad rap at lower BRs for their off-road performance, though the Striker can outperform many tracked vehicles on terrain like sand and snow, possibly due to the fact that it has 8 wheels, and possibly because War Thunder models the advances in rubber technology that have been had over the last few decades accurately, and thus the wheels on the Striker are better than wheels on, for example, a World War II vehicle. Either way, the Wolfpack is both fast on and off-road, though it is a decent amount faster of course on road. Now for survivability, as you might have guessed, I will give it a 2.25 out of 10. While the stat card is deceiving, saying that the Wolfpack only has 12mm of armor, whereas it mostly has around 37mm of armor covering most of the hull, it still has very little armor and thus very little protection. This means that autocannons, strafing runs, and pretty much every single shot shell type can easily pierce this vehicle, with the exception of some areas on this vehicle that are not covered by the additional 25.6mm of Mexus 2 and 2C armor, such as parts on the rear of the vehicle. The Wolfpack can survive against HMG hits, but that's about it. Throw in the fact that it only has 3 crew members, 2 of which sit very closely together underneath the cannon, and you have a vehicle of nearly unsurpassed lack of survivability, at least at this BR. Without the Mexus armor, this would easily be a 2 out of 10 or likely even worse. Now overall, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, this is actually a very good score. 6.5 out of 10 in my scale puts it in solidly great territory. The Wolfpack is fast, capably armed, and has a unique cannon setup that can protect it against damage and will allow you to get into unique firing positions. On the other hand, it has poor survivability, and a so-so top-level APF SDS shell. In all, this is a great vehicle for people that like to run around maps and flank, but I feel that other vehicles in this category, namely the Riocat 105, are better relative to their own BRs than the Wolfpack. Still, the Premium Striker is a fun and powerful vehicle that is a light tanker's dream at this BR. Now with that said, for my final recommendation, should you purchase the M1128 Wolfpack? Well, let's put its cost into perspective. It costs 9,090 Golden Eagles, which is more or less equivalent to around $45 USD when purchasing your Golden Eagles on Gaijin's website at the current rate. The Wolfpack costs around 25% best APF SD.
Alright, would you watch that? I don't know. Let me just test it out. It does have AIM 900s. What are you talking about?
Attention! Driver ready! Gunner ready! Forward! Roger. Advancing.
How do I turn on the Gen 3 thermals?
Target destroyed! On the way! Target destroyed!
Great Britain, they have a Challenger tank, which has a penetration up to... Oh, then penetration not that good then. Germany, on the other hand, is USSR has amazing tank. Holy shit, it does have amazing tank. 4,600. Okay, number 4.
Экипаж к бою! Механик водитель к бою готов! Наводчик к бою готов! Попадание! Цель уничтожена! Цель подбита! Цель уничтожена! часов. Дистанция 1000 метров.
Damn!
Цель уничтожена.
Dead. You're dead right there.
Попадание. Цель подбита. Вижу повреждения. Цель уничтожена. Попадание. Внимание, воздух. Цель уничтожена. Цель уничтожена. Цель уничтожена.
Alright. I might get this tank. I wanted to get the other one, but now since I'm seeing how good it is, shit, I might as well buy this one because shit, it's good. Challenger has not the good decent. 11.3, 10.3, so if I play this, it might be outranked sometimes. Oh, my back. Oh, ow, 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 okay, my back hurts a lot. Alright, oh, my toe. SD, which is really motherfucking powerful. It comes with better tanks. Well, the USA on the other hand has this one. Modifications. Aim 9 on this. I don't know which one is better. Hang, I'll be back as I need to use the bathroom. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Let me see the T80U. Hang on, let me see how good the T80U is. How good is the T80U? T80U. Not the UK. T80.
Alright lads, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the T80UD. This is basically a T80U but with a diesel engine. The tank also lacks a thermal imager and is only limited to 3BM42 Mango.
Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll be reviewing the T80UD. This is a currently 10.0 BR premium medium/main battle tank in the Russian Ground Forces tech tree. This vehicle currently costs 9,270 Golden Eagles and comes with 20 backups. With this said, in this video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about this T80 variant, including its stats, how it plays, its strengths and weaknesses. I'll give it some scores in several key areas, and then I'll give my final recommendation and if I feel that this vehicle is worth purchasing or not. A quick note, because this is a very powerful vehicle currently, I am somewhat expecting it to increase to 10.3 BR. So I will be doing this review from a mixed perspective of it being currently 10.0 BR and taking into consideration how it will perform at 10.3 BR. With that said, if you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel, but without further ado, let's get into it. Now to start, I'll place the stat card here on the side of the screen. Important things to note are its horsepower, its cannon, and its turret traverse rate. Now for how it plays. The T80UD quite simply is extremely versatile. Though it has a weaker engine compared to every other T80 currently in War Thunder, as it has a diesel engine compared to a turbine engine, the UD is still very mobile, still maintaining over a 20-to-1 horsepower per ton power to weight ratio. Further, because of its 125mm 2A46 M1 cannon and 3BM42 APF SDS shell, the UD can also destroy in one hit pretty much anything that it fights. Heck, even more so, if you're ever caught in a situation where you're being hit with enemy shells, the Contact 5 ERA mixed with its very good composite armor on the front of this vehicle can prevent much, if any, damage from actually impacting your tank or crew. With all these traits combined, the T80UD can essentially play any role that you want, including frontlining, brawling, base capping, flanking, supporting, and even sniping. Though the latter may be somewhat difficult for some people, as the UD has no thermal sights, but at least has good gunner's optics with 12 times zoom. But therein lies the issue. Because it has no thermals and a somewhat weaker engine, the T80UD is at a somewhat lower BR than it otherwise would be if it had upgrades on those features. Because it is slightly hamstrung in those ways, it can get by at 10.0 or even 10.3 BR if it gets to that point, and will still have excellent armor, a great cannon, and good mobility, in spite of not being as mobile or technologically adept as other vehicles around this BR. Put simply, the T80UD is extremely versatile and can play according to any playstyle that you want. It won't hold your hand in some ways like the Terms will with its nice second generation thermals, but it can still do very well in spite of this, especially as a brawler where thermals aren't necessary and where autoloaders such as what's on the T80UD will do very, very well. But with all that said, let's get into its strengths and weaknesses, and first for its strengths. The T80UD has very good sloped composite armor on the turret and upper glacis plate, and also features Contact 5 ERA on the exterior of those areas, as well as the forward portion of the sides of the hull. Second, despite the fact that this vehicle has the weakest engine of any T80 currently in War Thunder, the UD is still surprisingly mobile. For its third strength, it has a top-mounted HMG for destroying lightly armored vehicles and aircraft. Fourth, the UD has good commander's optics. Beyond this, it has an autoloader with a 6.5 second reload time that is guaranteed because of. Similar to the commander's optics, the T80UD features good gunner's optics with up to 12 times zoom. turret, which makes an ammo rack death a common occurrence. Fourth, this vehicle has a poor reverse speed of just 4.2 kilometers per hour. For its fifth weakness, though it still has fairly good mobility overall, the top speed on this T80 variant 10. The 2A46 M1 cannon fires an excellent 3PM42 APF SDS with over 450mm of armor pen and has a guaranteed 6.5 second reload thanks to its autoloader, at least so long as ammunition is available in the ready rack, which, don't worry, the ready rack has up to 28 shells in it. Regardless, the APF SDS alongside the 9M119 ATGM and 30F26HE allow for great destructive capabilities against a number of different targets. Couple that with a roof-mounted HMG for light work and for air targets, and you have a very capable offensive vehicle in the T80UD. It isn't the absolute best insofar as armor pen is concerned, but it is one of the best at this BR and can handle anything that it fights. My biggest issue with this vehicle is of course going to be its lack of thermals, but that hasn't stopped me from having some excellent games with it, especially when brawling where it is still pretty damn good. While it features just lack of thermals and
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address.
its 4.2 km per hour reverse speed, plus its mediocre turret traverse, and you have some pretty major weaknesses. Even still, its excellent strengths more than make up for any of those weaknesses that I just mentioned, and then some. I will say, however, that the terms may be more beginner-friendly, as it has Gen 2 thermals and still has good armor and a great cannon, making it arguably easier to handle for newer players. Although I can say that I never recommend purchasing high-tier premiums if you have little of all that. Yes, I fully recommend the T80UD for purchase, whether it stays at 10.0 BR or sees an increase to 10.3 BR. And of course, I give it my Tankenstein seal of approval. The UD is
Alright, looks like we're buying that one. I already have a jet. For us, the MiG-23 ML. And the jet. Of course, yes, the jet of Americans. A Russian accent. I'm not Russian. Yeah, I'm not Russian. So sorry about that, guys. It's just I like to do that sometimes. All right. Let's see here. Is there any planes or jets I want to buy? Shenyang, the Shenyang F5. Nah, I don't like it. The rest of them jets are just not good. Like, the only good jets are like in Israel. The decent amount of ones. But you can only equip two missiles, which is not good. And travel. And in the chow. On a child. Oh, send a new chow. On a tail. On a phone. On your soul. In a chow. Oh, SMK costs 650 golden eagles. Wow. Oh my god, this is so good. Such an amazing American deal that I'm getting in Russia. That's how we see the Soviet Union in Russia. I'm getting this as an amazing tank. I like it. Order. For the not a problem. Thank you for saying. Congratulations on your new tank. Switching this bitch. 366 golden eagles left. I can try to buy some. You can't really buy anything, no. 366 golden eagles, nothing. Only the low tier ones you can buy for shitty. For you know how much. Apostle, and Senator Chow 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 Chow. Unafina. Solo. Israel. 10.0. I don't even have a. Drama, miska, drama. Do I have enough for golden eagles? And yes, I do. And then travel. And Senator John. Actually, no, that's too much. Sorry, you see, I bought it for the USSR. Now let's test this baby out. 60 more, baby. Actually, no, I'm good. We're very good at everything, man. Drama. Travel. Как это see? Ram battle to my new tank. Oh, they're the same match now. Drama. Travel. So this one has better penetration than this one. Of course, we don't need that. Screw it. There we go. Going in.
Машина! Закрыть люки! Механиков бой готов! Очень бой готов!
Ram. God damn! Wait.
Улетел!
M10 Pro proved to be stronger this time. The enemies has proven to be the stronger this time. Maybe it's plus because I'm playing a higher tier. Ooh, it just plopped something. I just plopped something. Stubborn. Nuclear bomb, I need this. I need this. 2500 SP. Wow.
Вами став! Закрыть люки! Управление боя готов! Наводчик бой готов! Управляемый! Кумулятивный!
Alright, then. Alright, sorry.
Allied forces have captured the zone! Allied forces have captured the zone! Our victory is near! Угроза артиллерийского удара!
Attention to the map!
there you go.
Der war Forces, objective is gold. Suchen uns Artillerie, gewohnte
Yeah, nice.
Бою! Экипаж к бою! Механик-водитель, к бою готов! Наводчик к бою готов!
Possible enemy.
Пулемет к бою готов! Attention to the map.
Oh, damn.
Request air recon.
Two tanks, Calvin.
Enemy getting closer to victory.
Tank incoming.
Head into the designated grid zone.
Damn! A1. Damn, son, where'd you find this?
support. Attention to the designated grid zone. Attention to the designated grid square. Attention to the designated grid square.
Now he's gonna die. Alright guys, that's the end of the stream. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.